Let us understand the human digestive system in this particular session. The human digestive system is made up of two types of organs, the main organs and the accessory organs. Now, first thing that we must try to understand is, what does the human digestive system mean? The human digestive system is a collection of organs. It's a collection of organs. And what do these organs do together? They perform the process of digestion. Now, what is digestion? Digestion is the breaking down of complex nutrients into simpler nutrients. Let me give you an example. Now, glucose is a very simple nutrient, right? It is the formula for glucose is C6H12O6, and if a large number of glucose molecules are connected together, in a certain special way, we are going to get another complex carbohydrate which is called starch. So you see, starch is made up of so many different glucose molecules which are connected together in a much more complicated manner. And that's why starch is a complicated nutrient. It's a complex nutrient. The human body cannot use starch directly, and that's why starch must be broken down. The glucose molecules must be freed. Simply, there are a wide variety of proteins that we eat in our food which are complex, which cannot be used by our body directly. So they have to be broken down into simpler substances. Let's take a simpler example from our lives. Now, let me just clean the board and then let's take an example. Now, let us say there is a bridge. There is a bridge that connects to places, and let's say this is a bridge. And what is a bridge made up of? A bridge is made up of a wide variety of things. It is made up of, let's say, stones. It is made up of bricks, and it is made up of iron bars, etc., right? Now, if I give you this bridge and I ask you to make a house for yourself out of this bridge, how will you ever do that? How can you do that? Now, in order to do that, you cannot simply pick up the bridge and bend it or mold it and make a house. You will have to break this bridge so that you can take the stones out, you can take the bricks out, you can take the iron bars out, and then you can use these substances and combine them in a different way to make your house. And that is why the breaking of bridge is important. Similarly, in our body, the food that we eat is complicated and cannot be used directly. So we have to break that food, or breaking of food is digest the food. And what performs this function of digestion in our body? The digestive system, the system that is made up of a large number of organs. All of those organs are working together to digest food. Now, there are two types of organs of the digestive system, the main organs and the accessory organs. The main organs and the accessory organs. Let us look at them one by one. Now, let's look into the diagram. The first part of the human digestive system is the mouth. This is the place from where the food enters into our digestive system. The parts, now there are a couple of parts of the mouth which we will study later, but let me just talk about them. We have the tongue, we have got the teeth also as the part of the mouth. Next to the mouth, we have special organs known as salivary glands. Salivary glands. We will study about them later. But what do these organs do? They produce something called as the saliva, which is mixed into our food, and it performs certain work. Now, the food that we've taken in through our mouth and we've chewed it enters our mouth, is mixed with the saliva, and then enters into a pipe which is called the food pipe, and this is the food pipe here. So it enters the food pipe. The food pipe is also called the esophagus. Esophagus or the food pipe are one and the same things. So once the food has entered the esophagus, it moves down into a structure called the stomach. Now the stomach is a bag-like structure where the food comes. Inside the stomach produces variety of chemicals. A wide variety of chemicals are produced by the stomach. Two main chemicals that the stomach produces are hydrochloric acid, for short we write it as HCl, and pepsin. Along with that, the stomach also produces another chemical called mucus. We'll study about all of these later. So now the food that we have swallowed is mixed with the contents of the stomach, and the food then moves out of the stomach here, and it goes into a structure called the small intestine. Now you see this highly coiled structure, this here is the small intestine. So the food is going through this small intestine. It is a very long structure and unfortunately called the small intestine. It is very long, highly coiled structure, and this is the place, small intestine is the place where most of the digestion takes place, which means most of the food is broken down here in the small intestine. After the small intestine, the food reaches the large intestine. It is called large probably because it is wide. It has a wider space. So this is the space inside the large intestine, and this is the space inside the small intestine, and that's why it's called the small intestine and this is called the large intestine. But you must always remember that the small intestine is longer than the large intestine. Large intestine is smaller than the small intestine. This is one thing that you should bear in mind. So anyways, what is happening here is that the food has now entered the large intestine. It passes through the large intestine, and what happens in the large intestine? It absorbs water. We'll come back to the function in just a little moment. Now the food eventually, the completely used up food, the nutrients have been absorbed, the water has been absorbed. Now the waste that is remaining behind is now stored in this area called the rectum. It is stored here. So this is basically a temporary storage area for the undigested food. This is called the rectum, and eventually when there is sufficient amount of undigested food present in the rectum, the brain gives a signal to the muscles around this place called the anus to basically relax, and the undigested food is moved out of the body. And this process of removing the food out of the body is called defecation. It's called defecation, and the aperture or the hole from where the food, undigested food, is removed is called the anus. So the rectum is just behind the anus for temporary storage of undigested food, and the anus is the tiny aperture or the hole through which the undigested food is moved out, and this process of removing undigested food is called defecation. Right, now let us get into the details of the functions of the various parts. First thing, before we get into any of that, is I want you to appreciate something, which is that the food, there are many organs that the food has come in contact with. The food comes in contact with the mouth, the food comes in contact with the esophagus, the food comes in contact with the stomach, with the small intestine, with the large intestine, with the rectum and the anus. So the food has come in contact with some organs, and these organs are called the main organs because their first function is to digest food. Their main function is to digest food, and also they come in contact with food, and these organs are called the main organs. And what are the main organs? The main organ is the mouth. The first main organ is the mouth. The second main organ is the esophagus. See, salivary glands have not come in contact with the food, and that's why they are not the main organs. So esophagus is the second main organ. The third one is the stomach. The fourth one is the small intestine. The fifth one is the large intestine. The sixth one, okay, this is this tiny small part called appendix, which is a part of the large intestine. So appendix, if you want to write, yes, sixth is the appendix, seventh is the rectum, and eighth is the anus. Now remember, appendix is just a part of the large intestine. It is not used by the human body anymore, and we call it a rudimentary organ. We don't need this anymore. It is just a part of it. Just like hair don't serve a particular function in our body, similarly appendix doesn't serve any particular function in the human body. Anyways, so you must remember at least 8 main organs of the human digestive system. Now what are accessory organs? Accessory organs are those organs that play a part in digestion but never come in contact with the food. They don't come in contact with the food. Plus they also can, not always, but they can also perform other functions. Now let us look at the first accessory organ, salivary gland. Let us use a different color for this. Let us use green. So salivary glands are the first accessory organ. Why is it an accessory organ? Why are these accessory organs? Because they have not come in contact with the food, but they release something out of them which help in digestion. The second accessory organ is the liver. Now liver never comes in contact with the food, but it produces something called as the bile juice and bile salt. And these salts and bile juices are very important for digestion. These are sent to the gallbladder. The liver produces bile juices and bile salts and sends them to the gallbladder where they are stored. And again, gallbladder never comes in contact with the food. So this is the third accessory organ. The fourth accessory organ is called the pancreas. The pancreas also produces digestive enzymes. You can also call them juices, but these are not the juices that you drink. Juice is basically it's a liquid content which is rich in enzymes. Enzymes are special proteins that perform special functions, and in this case the digestive enzymes perform the process of digestion. So I hope you've understood the difference between the main organs and the accessory organs. There are 8 main organs and there are 4 accessory organs in the human digestive system. Now very rapidly we'll go to each of these organs and study their function in details in our later classes.